Hi there guys and girls, and welcome to the first TMK review of 2014, which is Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks on the Xbox. I fucking love Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks came out in the US on the 19th of September 2005 and in the UK, Australia, 30th of September 2005. Not sure about the rest of the world, but those being pretty much the main areas, your Europe and your US sort of thing. It was every MK fan's wet dream, this game. This game had... It ticked all the boxes in terms of having a game that was compelling and addictive, or addicting as we say. And it's funny because the game isn't polished in certain areas. Like, it's polished enough, definitely, to pass as a game, don't get me wrong, but there's parts, because I know a lot about the game and a lot about stuff that's in it and stuff that they sort of took out. If they were given a bit more time to work on it, the game that would have come out would have been like amazingly awesome. But that being said, it still is amazingly awesome, and that's because of the fact that this game came out of nowhere. I mean, there were these two, the first, like, I think it was just after, Deception had either just come out or just been announced. I don't think it was out yet. And they announced, hey, we got this other game, Shaolin Monks, and everyone was like, what the fuck is Shaolin Monks? This game just came from nowhere. And, the first screens showed, I think it was Liu Kang and Sub-Zero on a bridge. And on the pit, clearly the pit had the moon in the background, but it didn't look like the pit. The graphics looked very rough. And I was actually surprised, looking back now, that they released these screens, because they're very rough from what became the final version of the game. And there was another screen that had Liu Kang and Kung Lao in Goro's lair. And, everyone was like, what the fuck's this? And some people even thought it might be fake because the screens didn't look super semi-polished. I'm not saying they look bad, they just didn't look polished. Like, the game was there, but it just wasn't, But, and everyone was like, didn't know what the fuck this was, and the press release came out saying that they wanted to do a Mortal Kombat every year. That was in the Shaolin Monks press release. This was a good and bad thing for Mortal Kombat, that was owned by Midway at the time. It was good because we got a Mortal Kombat game every year, but it was bad in some respects that the games weren't fully polished or fully finished. Sometimes features were taken out or things like that, and for example, like, couldn't get the stage fatalities working in Deadly Alliance, but then they were in Deception. Deception's a fucking mad game, so maybe that worked out for the better, I don't know, but it's just, I just remember when this game was announced, it's like, oh, what the hell, and then I saw a video where you get to play as Liu Kang and Kung Lao, and it's very cooperative, and it had this awesome combo system, and believe me, I'm going to go over this stuff later, but this game had an extremely immersive story, because you got to go to Outworld, you got to walk through the Living Forest, you got to walk through the Soul Tombs, you got to go to the Armory, you got to see Shao Kahn's arena, you got to go to all these places, and some places you hadn't seen before, like, the hidden places, like above the Living Forest is like like an Ewok village sort of thing up there, and and they hadn't done this before. Like they'd sort of done it with Deception, starting with this, but this was so immersive. And even though, like, even the final version of the game, the characters still looked a bit rough, I think, like some of them, not all of them, it didn't matter. Like, even, I'll give you an example, and this is the funniest thing. If you unlock Scorpion and then start playing, it literally, the game just swaps out Liu Kang for Scorpion's model. So in the cutscenes, in the game cutscenes, like Kung Lao says, like, Liu Kang, behind you! And you're Scorpion, you know, like, there's stuff like that in it that's clearly just, you know, if they had more time, they would have fixed up.
Liu Kang, behind you!
When multiple enemies surround you, do not concentrate on just one. Attack in different directions to hit them all.
But you forgive it because the game is so awesome. You go through Goro's lair, the pit, you go to escape Shang Tsung's island. You get to see the brawl at the end of the first Mortal Kombat tournament. You get to see everyone's fighting in a room. That was just a perfect intro for this game, and the cinematics in this game are fucking awesome. You know. Anyway, this is going to be a long video. I should have said that a bit earlier, just so you know, and this is going to be a different type of review. Not only am I going to review the game and talk about the things I like and hate about it, which I already have done a bit, I'm going to talk a bit about the marketing and some of the other things that surround the game. Some of the things that people don't know, some of the deeper, darker secrets too. So that's why I'm expecting this video to be very long. But I want to give Shaolin Monks justice because this is a fantastic title. It really is. And it was a crime that the second one never got out the door. But I've got two videos to show you now, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to delve into Shaolin Monks. First, I'm going to show you the trailer, and then I'm going to show you a video from the MK team at the time talking about Shaolin Monks. And the reason I picked these two videos is the trailer gives you an idea all about Shaolin Monks, and you can see the marketing approach that they took to the game too. And you get to hear the MK team talk about how, you know, they said it in MK2 and how it's cooperative play and things like that. And I think that's very interesting. These are the two videos I picked to show you guys. So let's check them out now.
A battle raged at the end of the first tournament. Good versus evil, locked in mortal combat. The forces of Earthrealm were facing the greatest challenge. And they prevailed. The sorcerer, Shang Tsung, chose to run instead of accepting his defeat. Through a portal to Outworld, the horde of rogues escaped. The Thunder God assured the safety of his warriors. But the champion of Earthrealm and his most trusted ally were destined to take another path. Fighting together or independently, Liu Kang and Kung Lao struggled to face the threats of Outworld. Always resourceful, they never miss a chance to use their surroundings to dispatch an enemy. As their journey takes them deeper into the realm, they meet old friends and formidable adversaries. With experience as their teacher, the Shaolin monks become greater warriors. First, through the mastery of powerful weapons. Later, gaining mortality to deal with groups of enemies. And finally, unleashing the raw force of brutality. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, coming fall 2005.
Shaolin Monks takes place right after the first tournament, so it's right after MK1, in between MK1 and MK2.
Mortal Kombat!
The opening movie opens to a scene of the final battle in Mortal Kombat 1.
Ed wanted to start us right in the action of everything. And basically what he told me is, I want you guys to blow me away with something right off the bat.
It's basically this big brawl with all the characters kind of, you know, in this kind of mayhem. And Liu Kang is really the star of the show, and he's basically squaring off with Shang Tsung.
I think my favorite scene in the whole thing is the bit where Liu Kang does the bicycle kick, knocks the guard into Shang Tsung. Shang Tsung smacks the guards and jumps up into the air. And the fact that Shang Tsung actually smacks one of his guards gives him a little personality that you haven't seen in any of the movies before. You know, he's a little bit more dastardly, a little bit more evil.
The interesting thing about the opening movie of Shaolin Monks is that Kung Lao makes an appearance as if he was a part of Mortal Kombat 1. We explain the fact that Kung Lao was not part of Mortal Kombat 1 by putting him in disguise during it.
The movie ends with Shang Tsung's palace collapsing. Most of the heroes get away, but Liu Kang and Kung Lao are left behind, and that's where the game starts.
Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks is completely different than all the Mortal Kombats that have come before it because we've taken the approach of the action-adventure game. This takes in the adventure arena where you have all the abilities of a platform, the wall running, double jump, long jump, wall climb, those kind of abilities, but we lace that seamlessly into our fighting engine while still keeping all the fun aspects of an adventure game at the player's disposal.
All of the classic Mortal Kombat moments, you know, test your might, fatalities, and a number of new stuff added to the mix as well.
Shaolin Monks is probably different from the Mortal Kombats that have come before it in that it explains a lot more story, and you get to play that story and experience that story.
Monks has a lot of really new kind of innovative features. Probably one of the most notable one is the fact that we have two players co-op at the same time. We're really excited about all of the combos and the fighting system. It has a multi-directional combat, which is very innovative in itself as well. You can punch or kick in any direction.
We wanted it to appeal to a broader base, not just Mortal Kombat fans, but we also wanted to build a fighting engine so it can be enjoyed by your average adventure game player. We built a fighting engine that seamlessly links any move into any other move at any time, on the ground, in the air, while you're running, or while you're fighting another opponent. You can turn around and lace it straight into the one behind you. And the player has control at all times.
Alrighty, the next thing I want to talk about is the marketing of Shaolin Monks. The first thing I'm going to mention is the TV commercial. They showed this TV ad. I do believe they showed this in the cinemas and on television, but I know they showed it a lot online. So they showed it at a lot of the press events and the E3s and the Gamers Day and things like that. And yeah, it was a very cool video. I really liked it. I had sort of Liu Kang and Kung Lao walking into the portal and appearing in Outworld. And Outworld looked all ominous and lightning in the background and tar cartons coming at them, and then it showed some of the gameplay. It was a very cool ad. Let's check it out now.
Again, the fate of our world is at hand. But this time, there will be no tournament. This time, you must take the fight out of the arena and defeat these enemies in their realm.
Journey far beyond the walls of the arena into a legendary world of action and adventure. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, rated M for mature.
Alrighty, so yeah, that was the ad. Next, I'll talk about the some of the artwork. I'm a big fan of Mortal Kombat art. You know, the stuff that Steve Baran and Tony Goski and Jennifer Hendrick and Pav Kovacic and anyone who else I'm forgetting to mention. All the artists who've worked on Mortal Kombat and done art and models. I really love that stuff. And that's why I'm always very aggressive. I take an aggressive approach to getting as much of that artwork on my website as I can. That's something I'm doing as I'm slowly working on the new Total Mortal Kombat website too. I'm getting as much of the artwork I've got archived onto the site for people to see, because some of the stuff isn't even on my website. So the Shaolin Monks primary renders, the character renders, were done by Pav Kovacic. Pav is still on the MK team. He just worked on Injustice. I have to say these are my favourite Mortal Kombat renders. Hang on. Just thinking about the MK9 ones. It's hard. I'll tell you why they're my favourite. The MK9 ones had no background. The MKDC ones, they had backgrounds. They were very nice. Actually, I really like the MKDC ones too. They were very nice artwork renders as well. And the Deception ones. What I'm saying is, the ones that didn't have backgrounds felt lacking, even though the characters were cool and they're just done for marketing, you know, to put in magazines or whatever. I understand. But I love what they did with the Shaolin Monks ones. It's like they cared. And let me give you an example. The Deception renders had just the dragon background, and then sometimes they changed the colour tone of it. So let's say it was Sub-Zero in front of the dragon background. They'd give the dragon background sort of a bluey tinge, because it was Sub-Zero, right? But then it might be Shao Kahn. They just make, you know, take all the colour out of it and just make it look sort of brown. But the thing I love about these Shaolin Monks renders was they did these high resolution renders of all the characters, and the characters all looked really cool. Because remember, this game was set in, you know, MK1, MK2, more MK2-ish, like after MK1. So all the characters looked simple, like as in their MK1 costumes in the renders. But we hadn't seen them in a high resolution rendered image before. We'd only seen them in the game, remember. You know, remember there's no renders out when arcade games were out either. So this is the first time I'm seeing Kano in his MK1 outfit in a high resolution render presentation, which is cool. I love that. And not only that, we got renders of pretty much all the characters that are in Shaolin Monks. And they had these cool backgrounds where they were all in Shang Tsung's throne room, which I loved. I thought it just looked cool. And they had different angles of the throne room. They had, like, you know, maybe this corner over here showing the window, and then they had Shang Tsung sitting on the chair, and you know, then they had Goro, and it was a different part of the room. He was coming from this corner over here, and it was all, you know, the throne room. And I love that they took, you know, took care in these, they're just promotional renders, you know. To them, you know, they work on the game, and I mean, the artist probably means more to the artist, but, you know, the marketing, that renders aren't that really much of a bigger deal. They use them for promotion. They give them to magazines and that, here you go, you know, here's your exclusive, you know, and that. But, like, for me, I love looking back on Mortal Kombat stuff. I keep it all. I keep as much of it as I can. You know, so I look back on the renders a lot, and I go, oh, fuck, they're nice, and, you know, and I love to, you guys have probably noticed, even on my YouTube channel, I love to mix that banner up the top. You know, sometimes I'll put a Deadly Alliance render up there, just to remind you guys of the journey that we've taken with Mortal Kombat and the characters and the rendered images. You know, they've started off pretty low tech and they've gone pretty high now. And the Shaolin Monks ones were beautiful renders. Beautiful, you know. And I'm going to show them to you now, because maybe you haven't seen them. So I've got a little slideshow here, just to show you the renders. Don't worry, it's not going to be too long. But enjoy, because, yeah, like I said, these are my favourite Mortal Kombat renders. Pat, is it Pav or Pat? Pav, sorry. I've written Pat there. I fucked up. Pav did an amazing job with this promotional art. You know, so check it out, guys. Okay, so they were the renders. Now, not only did Shaolin Monks have renders, it had a big concept art, a lot of concept art before the game, you know, before they started showing everything. They released a lot of concept art, a lot of sketches, character sketches, background sketches too. So there was a lot of that stuff too, which was really, really cool. And rather than just show you that now, I'm going to put that on the end because, you know, people might not be as interested in the concept stuff as much as the renders, I think, personally. So I'm going to stick that on the end of the video. So stay tuned for the the concept artwork, because it is very, very, very awesome too. So we've gone through the renders and the concept art and the TV commercial. What else was there in the marketing aspect? There's heaps of videos, but there's no point in me talking about the videos because this is a video itself. I'm going to try and give you in this video as much as the information that all those other videos did. They will release a video and talk about a mortality or a brutality. I'm going to show all that stuff to you later. So moving along, magazine ads. There were two types of magazine ads. It was pretty much the same ad. It was just a bit redesigned. So it was either for a double spread or a single page. And Monks had very nice, very awesome magazine ads. And it basically had Liu Kang and Kung Lao sort of coming out of the living forest, and Kung Lao sort of fly kicking attack art, and Liu Kang's blasting one with a fireball, you know, and yeah, and there's this path leading out of living forest, and it's sort of going into the background, up into the mountains, and there's a full moon, and it just looks so fucking cool. That's one of my favourite backgrounds, and I'm lucky enough to have, one of the marketing things is I have that ad as a Photoshop document, and I was lucky enough to be able to take that background out, and it's like it's the background on my laptop. I take all the characters out, and it's just the background. It's just the living forest and the path leading out of the forest and going up into the mountains, and yeah, it's an amazing piece of artwork. Now, other than that, we had the pack shot, which I've already held up for you guys. The pack shot was you know, very decent. Again, I like it. It's got a path leading through the mountains. This looks a lot hotter, maybe leading into the Netherrealm. You got Kung Lao and Liu Kang on the front cover, looking badass on each side. I love it. They're on each side, and the path's going through the middle of them. It's showing the adventure and the fighting. It's very clever. You got Goro there. You got Baraka there and Scorpion, and yeah, it's a fantastic cover. Yeah, I've never really talked a lot about a cover in these reviews, but you gotta admit, that's badass right there. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about the story of Shaolin Monks. The story was really well told, and that's because we had a super compelling intro, which you saw a bit of before, which basically set up the whole, what happened at the end of the first Mortal Kombat tournament, and what sort of happened between MK1 and MK2. This was a great idea. Setting it in the MK1 and MK2 time was awesome. Everyone knows and loves MK1 and 2. If you don't, seriously, don't talk to me. I've always told you guys, MK1's my favourite game, and MK2 is very close behind it. The reason I like MK1 is for its originality, amazing soundtrack, you know, establishing a look that we hadn't seen before, you know, digitizing actors, and just all the little details in that game. It's just so awesome. And I love MK2 because it's that and more. It's more characters, and it's that. So usually when I want to play like an old school MK, I usually go to MK2 because there's more characters in that. But I love MK1. I never forget about MK1. So we had this game that was established in my favourite storyline or timeline, and like a lot of other MK fans, this was our favourite timeline. MK1, MK2, MK3, retro style. And the good thing that they did here was they had cutscenes to tell the story, intros and cutscenes in the game. They didn't have too many. They only had a few cutscenes. They only had about 6, but it was enough. It was all we needed. And the way that they did this was they didn't affect the storyline by expanding upon MK1 and MK2. The reason was MK1 and MK2 were very limited in the story. They had the story, but they were limited, but there was still more than other fighting games. So this game came along, and it served as gap filler. So basically it filled in all those little unknowns in the MK1, MK2 storyline without affecting the MK1, MK2 storyline that was already established so many years ago. And an example of this, and this is one of those things that they introduced in a game, and it works so well that it will forever stay in the Mortal Kombat story this way, as far as I know. They wanted to put Kung Lao in this game, but Kung Lao wasn't in MK1. So, as you saw in the video I showed you before, he was disguised as one of the masked guards. I love that. I do that. It's so cool. And because they expand upon the story later on, and even in this game, I think they say that Kung Lao wasn't chosen for this Mortal Kombat. Liu Kang was, and Kung Lao was jealous of that. You know, so he still went to the tournament disguised as a masked guard. He still went and watched and dressed up and in this. And then when that big brawl breaks out in Shang Tsung's throne room, he rips off the disguise, Kung Lao, and he throws the hat and cuts that Tarkatan's head off. And that was so fucking badass. It was so badass that it stuck around, and it was in this MK9 as well.
Where is the Lin Kuei, Sub-Zero? He killed my family and clan. I will have his head.
I know it is you, Kung Lao. The Shaolin monks chose Liu Kang to represent your order in this tournament.
I am Liu Kang's equal.
That remains to be seen.
Watch and see. I accept the challenge.
Kung Lao.
Never mind the Lin Kuei. Now you face a Shaolin.
You remember he throws off the disguise and says, "I challenge," and challenges Scorpion. You know, and yeah, that's one of those cool things that just worked so well. And that was what was so great about the storyline, that it was super compelling, and it was undamaging, and it was cool. It was introducing new things while being respectful to the original story. Alright, next up I want to talk about the environments of Shaolin monks. This is what the main linchpin is to the whole game. You can have a great story and you can have all that, but when you're playing the game, you need to be immersed in that story. And to be immersed in that story, if it says Kung Lao and Liu Kang go to the Living Forest, when you go to Living Forest, it has to look like the Living Forest. And they did an amazing job bringing these levels and giving them substance and making them 3D and large worlds too. Remember, the Living Forest, as we know it, is just a screen that's like that long. And there's, you know, 4 different trees. There's the 2 growling trees in the middle, and then there's this tree on this side going, and there's one on this side going, you know, there's like a guy who looks like Raiden tangled up in the vines, and that's all we know of the Living Forest. And sometimes we see Smoke poke his head out, and Jade, that's it. And they've taken this and they've made it so awesome. They've made all the trees alive, and they're all moving, and they've even brought that rumor where you could uppercut people into the trees and it eats them from MK2. That was a rumor. They put that in this game. So you can uppercut your enemies into the trees and the trees eat them. And yeah, the forest looks dangerous. The trees that sort of are like they're trying to hit you as you walk past, and there's pits of spiky vines, and there's clay statues and lots of hidden things too. Smoke. I'm going to talk about the Smoke missions later. Smoke is hiding in the Living Forest. You get to him by throwing a guy through a what looks like sort of a one of those big, you know, those big graves that are like a little house. Yeah, you throw him in through the door. That breaks it, and then you can go through and you talk to Smoke. Reptile also lives in the Living Forest. He has a lair. You go into Reptile's lair, which is appropriate because Reptile's like a, you know, he live in the Living Forest, I presume. Yeah, and you fight all these people. You fight the Brotherhood of the Shadow in the forest, and yeah, and it was just so cool. You got to run through the forest, and you got to go through to all these places, and it was large and big. And just when you thought you knew it all, you'd find this secret that I mentioned earlier, where you go up, as soon as you get the swing ability, you can swing on this branch, and you swing up, and then you go up high, and then you grab this tree, and there's a ladder, and you climb up this tree, and then you're up in, like, what I said is like the Ewok village. There's like a whole, like, there's all these little bridges connecting all the trees, and you go up there and you have a secret Melina boss fight. You know, and yeah, it just made these levels so cool. I was so riddled with secrets. Excuse me, I'm drinking Pepsi now. So riddled with secrets and so many cool things to do. And like, I'm going to read out some of the levels. You started on Shang Tsung's island. You went through Goro's lair, the pit. You actually got to go through Goro's lair, and then it led into the pit, and all the levels sort of connected. Again, this is something we hadn't seen in Mortal Kombat. I had mentioned in videos that I used to think the Mortal Kombat 1 levels connected. The courtyard, palace gates, and the throne room. I'm sure those 3 levels do connect. And then you had Goro's lair and the pit, which was sort of under those. It makes sense that they would connect. Yeah, so you had the pit. Then when you left Shang Tsung's island, and you got to see outside his island too, you got to see what was outside, you got to run around, there's traps everywhere, spikes everywhere. You get to go to the portal, and the portal looked like the MK2 portal. Again, MK2 portal was this. It had floating steps, floating platforms leading into the portal, and the portal was big swirling vortex with electricity, zzz, you know, and it had like 3 or 4 little floating platforms that led into the vortex, and there were 2 guards at the end too, on each side of the platform, holding trident sort of sticks, and that was it. And then your foreground was just a platform, and that's why it's one of my favourite levels. It just looked so fucking cool. Giant portal and floating guards, and it just looked very Outworld. Anyway, so when you get to play this in Shaolin Monks, yeah, you have to fight the monks to get these floating platforms. They connect more up in Shaolin Monks. When you beat them, the platforms then appear and let you through the portal. So it's the only way you can go through the portals in the portal level in Shaolin Monks, is you have to beat the 2 guards they appear next to each portal, because there's several portals that take you to different places. That was fucking awesome. You know, and they use their lightning attacks, and yeah, they float around like they did in MK2. They're like, you see the guy floating in the background, they float like that, and it was awesome. Then one of the levels you go to is called the Soul Tombs. Now, we didn't know anything about the Soul Tombs. We hadn't heard anything about this in Mortal Kombat before. This was like a new stage. The Soul Tombs was like a place where Shang Tsung would gather all this power like that. It was just full of death. Just think of the Soul Tombs as torture room after torture room after torture room. It's just a place that is full of death. So there were traps everywhere. There were like heaps of guys killed, and skeletons, and you could uppercut them into the spikes, or uppercut them into hook things that would rip them apart, and there were all sorts of cool things, spike ceilings, and yeah. And it was big too. Again, you had to go, there were different parts of Soul Tombs. There was like torture rooms that had spinning things, and one of the smoke missions is you had to find this secret torture room, and you uppercut a guy into each high ledge, and in the first one he burns, I think, and in the second one blades cut him, and the third one he gets crushed or something, you know. And yeah, it was so cool, and all the time playing through these stages, it was just so much fun. So much fun. I never felt bored playing Shaolin Monks. This is an important thing to say. I never felt bored. Like, even though you're like, oh, you know, I've got to go all the way back to the portal now, I want to go there. It didn't feel boring. You got to run through these beautiful looking stages to go places. And the stages looked really beautiful. The stages looked perfect. I was saying earlier that Shaolin Monks is a bit rough in places. It was never rough with the backgrounds or environments or any of that. I think just the character models sometimes, and some of the little, you know, things they didn't have time to polish up a bit more. Could have had a bit more work. But that being said, what I got, I'm happy with anyway. next level I'll talk about. I'm just going through the list here. I'm going to try and talk a little bit about all the levels. I've written them all down. Hopefully I haven't forgotten any. We had the Evil Monastery. Now the Evil Monastery is what the name that they gave to the tower. So the tower from MK2 was the level with the floating monk and the window and the clouds are just going past. So that level's called the tower. So we always knew that that level was a tower. So they've called it the Evil Monastery. So you come into the Evil Monastery, you come in the bottom floor and you have to go up the tower all the way up to the top. That's fucking cool. So you got to fight and do things and set off traps to get further and further up the tower. And then eventually you got into that room, that MK2 room with the floating monk, you know, and he was actually there, you know, and you fight him, you can kill him, you know. And then, yeah, you go up even further and it takes you to the Katana Molina Jade boss fight, you know, and yeah, it was just awesome seeing MK2 levels given this much detail and expansion, expanding on a pre-established, you know, thing. And it was a perfect formula. No, the Living Forest, which I mentioned a bit before, the Living Forest, you know, just awesome. Yeah, this just, man, I don't know why I've put it there twice, you know, but amazing. And then you had levels hidden like Warrior Shrine. So you wouldn't think the Warrior Shrine's in it because you leave Shang Tsung's Island and you don't sort of see it. The Warrior Shrine, you sort of see everything else as you leave Shang Tsung's Island, but you don't find the Warrior Shrine. And that's because as you're leaving the island, there's an area you can run up to, but there's a statue there that's blocking the way. And it turns out it's a smoke mission to break this statue, and then on the other side of it's the Warrior Shrine. You'll see that later. I'm going to show you all the smoke missions later. But yeah, you had to get an ability called the Fist of Ruin, which is like the last ability you get. So they had this at the start of the game, and you got this ability at the end of the game. You had to remember to go all the way back to the start of the game. Because remember, you can go anywhere in Shaolin Monks at any time using the portals and smash that statue to get to the Warrior Shrine. In Outworld, they not only had, you know, like the Living Forest, they had the Wastelands. And the cool thing about the Wastelands is they look like that. They look like Wastelands. Little fires everywhere, things on fire, weapons all over the place, spikes with heads on them. And this whole war going on between the Black Dragon, I think it was, and the Red Dragon. These guys always fighting, and you're going through, and yeah, and yeah, you fight Goro in the Wastelands, and yeah, it had that look. It had that purple tinge, that background, you know, all that sort of stuff going on. Again, expanded upon. It was just, I loved playing this game. Now, the armory is in this too. The armory from MK2. Remember, that is just two pillars with weapons all around them, and there's racks of weapons in the background, and there's like a Mortal Kombat dragon in the middle on the wall, and some lava going past, like a little stream of lava. In this, you get to go through the armory, so you go through it room by room, and not only that, you forge a weapon as a secret. You forge this giant axe, and this axe unlocks the secret in survival mode, which we'll talk about later. But yeah, you have to go through all these rooms, and you see the lavas and the pots moving and all that, and then the axe gets cooled, and then it gets hit by these two hammers, bing, and it makes this thing. So you actually get to forge like a weapon yourself as you go through the armory. And you get to see all these cool stages. You get to see, not only do you see that hot lava stage, but you see the cold stage with all the water where they cool the weapon. And again, they expanded upon this beautifully. And yeah, it was so much fun playing this game. You had, I've talked about Reptiles later, the Pit 2's in there as a secret, as one of Smoke's missions, so you get to see the Pit 2, and yeah, you just got to survive on there and hit all these guys off the Pit 2. You'll see that later, I'm going to show you that later. But yeah, and then you had Khan's Arena at the end. You actually got to run up into Khan's like castle, and there were people in jail cells you could talk to, and then there was a secret where you could fight Kano, and Jax was there, and you freed Jax, and he leaves that extra health for you during the Shang Tsung Kintaro Shao Kahn fight, which is the end of the game. So the environment of this was very important because, and it all segued really well because you were going through all these stages. So it was really important to feel like you were in these stages, and they did that so well, and that's what made Shaolin Monks such a kick-ass title, especially for a fan like me who loves the story and everything, you know. And so when I saw the Living Forest, I didn't think, that doesn't look like the Living Forest. I thought I was fucking in the Living Forest. That's what I liked about this game. It felt genuine. If Outworld was real, that's what it would look like. And that's what was so cool about the environments of Shaolin Monks. Alright, now I want to talk about the basic mechanics of Shaolin Monks. And this is what made the game addicting in what you were doing. Not, as I've been talking about, the backgrounds. The backgrounds are immersive, play an immersive role, they're just backgrounds. But when this is the actual what you're doing and what you're playing, this is very important. If this was bad or felt boring or felt hard, you wouldn't want to play through the game. So basically, they gave you a whole lot of moves to start with, like the fireball and the hat toss and stuff like that. You earned them real quick from memory. That allowed you to, you know, basically do them at will. So you could just do moves if you wanted, but it just works so well that these moves interlock with the combo system. So first you get basic moves, and then you get unlockable moves. So you unlock even more stuff that you can then use in your combo system. And that's what made this combo system so fantastic. All the moves were connectable at all times, as long as you could just close the range. And what I mean by that is, obviously if I throw the hat, sorry, Pepsi, that's a long range attack. If I do the hat spin when I'm Kung Lao, it's a close range attack, only things next to me are going to get hit. So the thing that made this awesome was you run up to a guy and you go bang, 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 XXX. You know, you do your 3 hits, and then you do your hat spin, blah, 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 and that pops them up in the air. Boom, right? Then you jump up into the air and you just tap X in the air, and Kung Lao does this dive kick and it's bang, 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 and then bang. And then you've already got like 20 hits racked up, and then you can do your hat spin again, blah, 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 you know, and then you might then decide to jump up in the air and throw them, and then throw them in the air and throw them like that, and they hit the ground, and as they're getting up, then you just throw your hat, and you use your long range attack, and you get them with the hat, you know, and then that might be enough to kill them, and then you get their energy, you know, and that's what was so cool. And I've seen on YouTube, I don't know if this is totally legit, I haven't seen because he didn't have the whole video, but I saw a guy who had a 2,000 hit combo, 2,500 hit combo or something on YouTube, and he was just filming the TV showing it, but he hadn't shown the whole combo, he hadn't shown how he started it and that, so I was just looking at it going, what the fuck. But you know, because I played this game, I know it's very easy to achieve, you know, high combos. And I've seen people with, you know, 400 hit combos, 500 hit combos, you know. I personally have never got that much because I'm, you know, I usually drop the ball or get hit. My best combo is 168 hits. That's my best combo. Which probably, you know, the pro MK players or the pro Shaolin Monks players would laugh at. You know, but it is so easy to play this game and get, you know, 50 hit combo on that. And yeah. And that's what's so awesome. Would you guys like to see me do a 100 hit combo? I'm going to show you how easy it is. Bang! Here's a 100 hit combo. Check it out. So yeah, as you can see, easy to do. Now, the other thing that worked with the fighting mechanic was, of course, it wouldn't be Mortal Kombat without fatalities. Now, the coolest thing is that in Shaolin Monks, not only did they bring us roughly 10 fatalities per character, per your mains, they introduced Mortality and Brutality. So Mortality is basically, you know, you put your input in and da-da-da, and then basically it's like you go crazy and you can kill a whole lot of multiple people who are all around you. Let's say there's 20 guys around you. You go crazy, oh, bang, 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 you kill them all, you know, and yeah, and that's what Mortality is. A Brutality is the same as a Mortality, is in that you can do all that, but all your moves are ramped up, super hyped, supercharged. So basically, while a Mortality, you can kill a whole lot of people while it's running. You're still not supercharged. You still got to hit them a whole lot of times. In the Brutality, you hit each guy like twice and they die, and all your moves change. They're sort of all ramped up, and like Kung Lao does this spinny thing where, you know. And I'm gonna show you guys Fatality, Mortality, and Brutality because, like, yeah, they did a really cool job, and they put some really awesome stuff in there. My favorite Fatality, which I'm going to show you, is Kung Lao's Bunny Rabbit. That's my favorite one. And yeah, and I'm also going to show you Kung Lao's Mortality and Brutality. Check them out.
Finish him.
So, now I want to talk about the boss fights of Shaolin Monks. There was so many times that you would come across boss fights throughout the game. From Baraka, to Reptile, to Goro, to Katana Melina Jade, to just Melina. And then basically you end up fighting even, the last fight in the game is Shang Tsung, Kintaro, and then Shao Kahn himself. All the boss fights were cool, they were challenging, but a lot of people had trouble with the last one actually, Shao Kahn. Beating Shang Tsung Kintaro was easy, but Shao Kahn proved pretty easy because just before you as you get him to his halfway point on his energy, he whips out his hammer and he just starts spinning around the arena really fast. And before you can get out of the way, it's like bang, 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 and does an insane amount of damage and you die. And myself and a lot of other people online were like, what the fuck, how do we beat? This was like the one thing in the game that sort of seemed hard was the last guy, which was cool because once you knew the answer, you felt really dumb. but yeah, it seemed impossible. You couldn't get away. You couldn't double jump because he would just go that way and then come back, and then he would come down and hit you. And I was like, how the fuck do you beat Shao Kahn with this stupid hammer attack? And turns out you just had to use your long jump ability. You wouldn't think to use it where there's not a giant hole, but you had to use it in the arena to jump right across the other side of the arena. And eventually he'd stop spinning and then get tired and then you could hit him. That was cool. Now, last thing I want to say about the mechanics of Shaolin Monks is the cooperative play. Now, for me, I'll be honest, I played this game mostly by myself because I didn't have a buddy to play with who liked Mortal Kombat, who wanted to play with me. So I played through pretty much the whole game, but it bugged me because there were parts of the games that said you need an ally to unlock this puzzle or something like that, or to get, you know, a few of the secrets you needed a second player.
More secrets are available if you use the help of an ally.
I ended up telling my friend he's had to come over, bring your Xbox controller, and I made him play so I could get all the secrets in the end. But I played most of the game just by myself. But I wish I had been able to. I've never played through Shaolin Monks with a buddy. That would be so much fun. Like the combos you can do, because you can link up, you can tag team your combos. So like I can get like 50 hits and then throw a guy over to you, and then you can continue the combo, and we get co-op hits, you know, and that's so fucking cool. I've never done that. And that's an awesome thing I'd like to do one day, is play MK Shaolin Monks cooperatively. Alright, now I want to talk a bit about the graphics and sound of Shaolin Monks. Again, playing a big part in making an immersive adventure title. First, the graphics engine. I loved it. The backgrounds, especially, and the environments were like perfect for me. I can't say anything bad about them. Like, I loved what I saw. The in-game models, though, did seem a bit rough at times. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. It is an Xbox title. Remember, I'm doing this review. Now we've got Xbox One and PS4 and 360 and PS3. Those things are capable of HD graphics and 4K resolutions now. Insane resolutions. You know, the resolution of Xbox and PS2 is very mediocre, you know, very low res. But like a lot of times it does feel very rough when you're looking at the models, and I think they could have been polished a little bit more. But that being said, it's not about the graphics, and it's something I look at and go, oh well, they could have polished that, but I get over it. You know, it's when I'm in a combo, I'm not thinking, oh man, the graphics are really starting to piss me off. No, it's like, you forget about it because you're so immersed in the game and the adventure. You know, but I'm just saying, I think if they had a bit more time on the title, that they would have polished up the models a bit more. The sound, again, just perfect. One of my favourite things about Shaolin Monks, some of the remixes that you hear the Armory remixed, and a bit of the Goro's Lair music remix from MK1, and they've sort of remixed it and drawn out the music to give it a long sort of feel. And the way the music in Shaolin Monks works is you got like an ambient tune. So, sorry, I got Pepsi in my beard, in my Pepsi strainer. Yeah, you'll be like in the portal will have an ambient music, and then when you see an enemy, it will play like you see an enemy music, like an enemy's coming at you. A different tune, sort of ramps up, and then when you start fighting, then it ramps right up, and like goes all action orientated. The music, while still being within the boundaries of its own tune, and then when you beat them, then you've got the sort of that music then comes to an end, fades out, goes back to the ambient. So yeah, the music design was really, really good. It was awesome. My favourite tune is definitely the Armory when you're fighting, because it just sounds like MK2 but remixed. Like, I love that tune. This is perfect. Yeah. You can download some of those tunes on Total Mortal Kombat, by the way. If you go to totalmortalkombat.com and click on 20,000 members celebration on the left side, you see Shaolin Monks music. Click that, and I put a few tunes up there a while ago, and I ripped those from the game, so I haven't recorded them or anything. They're from the game disc, so they're very good quality. Quality is everything to me when it comes to music and graphics. The other amazing things are the sound effects. The sound effects in this game were awesome too, spot on. Very crunchy, they sounded very perfect, hard hitting, you know, big punches, big hits. You know, it sounded, strong. It sounded very good. And lastly, the thing I want to say about the music was getting Steve Ritchie back to do Shah Khan blew my mind. Now, I've looked everywhere because I swear I saw a video that had Ed Boon talking about this, and I've just gone through right now all my Shaolin Monks content, and I can't find this video for the life of me, but I remember seeing a video that had Ed Boon saying we had to look for Steve Ritchie and we found him like in Florida or Miami or something, and they got him back to do the voice just for Shaolin Monks to reprise his role as Shao Kahn.
There is something in you that makes me feel like a conqueror again.
Our friends! Where are our friends?
You can earn their freedom. Defeat me and they will be freed.
And yeah, it was so awesome to be able to play a 2005 Mortal Kombat adventure that was set in the MK2 days and have Steve Ritchie back doing Shao Kahn's voice. It was just the best. Yeah, so yeah. The other thing I forgot to say about the graphics, and I'm jumping around a bit here, was I forgot to talk about the loading screens. There were these beautiful loading screens too, that in between levels that showed, you know, might be Outworld or Living Forest, some very, very cool loading screens. As you know, sometimes I do put the loading screens up on my YouTube channel, if I can get them. And the Shaolin Monks software is very, very clever. If I knew a bit more about programming, I might be able to get to them, but I've been trying to access the graphics from the game files, and no go so far, guys. But it's one of those ongoing things with me. I'll keep trying, and one day you'll see a video pop up that says Shaolin Monks loading screens. Yeah, so one other thing I want to say about Steve Ritchie, sorry, going back to Steve Ritchie that I just forgot, was I read this, I'm not sure if this is true. I heard that his hearing is deteriorating, which, as you know, can affect your ability to talk, because when you can't hear yourself, you can't hear how you're talking. And I actually have a cousin who's deaf, so I know all about this. It's very sad to, you know, especially if you've had your hearing and you're losing it, you know. I know Lou Ferrigno has that too. If any of you have seen Lou Ferrigno, they wouldn't let me. I went out and videoed all the people at Supernova. They very strict. You couldn't film Lou Ferrigno because he had, when he talked, he had that. He was losing it. He was, you know, when he talked, he started to sound deaf. You know, without saying anything bad about, you know, but that's what happens. You lose your articulation with words. So I'm not sure how bad. I'm not sure if this is right or not with Steve Ritchie, because I did put up a video saying Steve Ritchie is Shao Kahn and they should use Steve Ritchie. This might be the reason they didn't use Steve Ritchie in MK9. I don't know. All I can say is if he's able to do it, he should be doing Shao Kahn. You know, and NetherRealm should be pursuing him to be Shao Kahn on all future projects, as far as I'm concerned. He's just got the perfect voice for Kahn. So yeah, yeah, that's it for the graphics and sounds of Shaolin Monks. So let's move right along. Now I want to talk about the mega secrets in Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks. So before I talk about the mega ones, actually, I'll talk about the normal ones. So as you played the game, if you found secret areas like high, sometimes you'd run up a wall and you'd find a little yin-yang dragon symbol, that would unlock something. So finding all those in the game unlocked your artwork, your characters, and you're able to also unlock fatalities. I'm not sure if they were unlocked through medallions or gameplay. It's been such a long time since I unlocked them all. But basically, yeah, playing the game like that allowed you to unlock everything that way, which made the game extremely fun. I was actually one of the guys who found, one of the first guys when the game came out, because I've got a US copy. See that? That's American, baby. We were all playing Shaolin Monks, and we were all in the Mortal Kombat chat room back in the good old days, and we're all looking for all the secrets, all the hidden secrets. I was the first guy who found, because no one knew the secret, I found it, and I was real proud of it. And it was where you hear that armory tune, my favourite tune, where you fight all the Oni, where they come out of the tunnels. And yeah, so it's the part where you come out of Paul and you go down a tunnel, and you're sort of like in a mine shaft. I think there's like a mine, and it's got those rock crushers at the top, those big spiky rock things dropping down. Anyway, in there, yeah, in that main area, in that main room where the save statue is, you go up to the top floor and you jump, and then you double jump up into, there's like a shaft straight above that room, and you jump into that shaft, and then you wall jump all the way up to the top of the shaft I found that secret, baby. No one knew that. I was the first to find that. And I'm like, did you know about this? And everyone was like, oh my god, I didn't know that one. Yeah. I felt proud. I found one of those secrets. That was me. I'm fully taking credit for that. I don't care what anyone says, because no one else knew about that secret at the time. And I found it. I'm like, fuck, hang on. When I go up here, the camera goes up a bit, you know. So that was just, it was so much fun looking for the secrets. And then we had these mega secrets, and that's what I'm going to talk about now. Fuck, smoke missions. I remember you pause the game and you see it there, smoke missions. You're like, what the fuck is that? And this is basically what I was talking about earlier that's hidden in the living forest. You take one of those clay statues, because later you get the Fist of Ruin, and you can't defend against the clay statues from memory unless you've got the fist. And then so they attack you and you block, and then you use the fist and it smashes their shield, and then you can start attacking them. So then you just grab one, do your throw, and throw it into this wall. It breaks open, and then you go in, and inside there is smoke, and he gives you these 5 missions to go do, like, you know, find the secret fatality, throw guys into the purple portals in the portal area, perform 3 sacrifices in the soul tombs, unlock the warrior shrine, and survive in Mortal Kombat 2's Frozen Peaks. And yeah, that was so much fun. You got these little missions to go on and do, and then the coolest thing about it is at the end of that, you unlocked MK2. You unlocked MK2! So not only was Shaolin Monks a top game, if you had the Xbox One, it unlocked MK2. Now, I will say this. This is the American Xbox One, but I have confirmed that the Australian Xbox One can unlock MK2. But in Europe, they took it out of the Sony version. So the PlayStation version can't unlock MK2 in Europe. It can in the US, doesn't matter in America. Both of them could unlock MK2, but I think it's something to do with, in Europe, there's a ban on Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 in Germany. And I think Sony just took it out for that reason, and their disc goes all around Europe. But the Xbox One, it didn't matter. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you guys the smoke missions. So this will probably take about 8 minutes to see all this. I've cut it down a bit, but it'll basically give you an idea of doing the smoke missions. If you did not know about this, check it out. If not, you can skip ahead.
Only through completing these tasks will the true secrets be revealed. For your first quest, break down walls in the soul tombs to find the hidden fatality. You have completed the first quest. Excellent. Your next quest is ready. Only through completing these tasks will the true secrets be revealed. Your second quest is to destroy the evil barriers in the Wu Shi Academy to find the warrior shrine. You have completed the second quest. Excellent. Your next quest is ready. Only through completing these tasks will the true secrets be revealed. Your third quest. Perform 3 sacrifices in the Soul Tomb's torture room. You have completed the third quest. Excellent. Your next quest is ready. Only through completing these tasks will the true secrets be revealed. Excellent. Your next quest is ready. Only through completing these tasks will the true secrets be revealed. You have completed all the quests and have unlocked Mortal Kombat 2.
Get over here!
Alright, so that was cool, and I still can't believe Unlock MK2 in that. One of my favourite Mortal Kombat games, and one of my favourite old school Mortal Kombat games in the one package. So yeah, the next thing, now, as I was talking earlier, if they had more time to work on this game, I'm sure this would have been an unlockable the right way, but they hid this in the game, and it's called the survival mode. So basically, again, you go to this area that I just talked about where I found that secret, and in the mine carts, or the foundry area sort of, and you go in there and you break all these barrels in a certain order with the axe that you get from the armory. So firstly, you go into the armory, you grab the axe, then you come out, then there's a secret door on the side. If you haven't unlocked it, you got to throw a guy into that. That breaks the wall open, and there's lava in there. You jump in the lava and you get burned. You have to do this to unlock this thing, by the way. So you got to get the axe, you got to burn yourself in the lava, then you run into the area where the Oni are, into the lowest tunnel. You go in, you break the barrel, then you run up the ramp, and you go to the left, and there's 2 barrels. You break 1 barrel. Then you run back to the right, and there's a little room with a weapon in it, and you break 1 barrel, 2 barrels, or and you can break any barrels in that room. Then you run back again to the other barrel, and you don't even have to break that last barrel. You just hit the axe on the ground, and all these green lines come out of the ground, and that takes you to this survival mode. Now, you may be thinking the instructions I just gave you are wrong. They're not. Try it if you don't believe me. A lot of places online say you got to break the lower barrel, then you got to break the top barrel, then you got to break 1 barrel in that room, then you got to go up to the rock, where the rock smashes are, and break that barrel, then come back out, then break that barrel, then break the last barrel. You don't have to do that. Do it the way I said the first way, and you'll see in the video it works. But the sad thing is that the Xbox version suffers from a glitch. There's supposed to be 9 levels of endurance mode, and level 4 it just freezes. The whole game freezes. So if you're going to do this at your own risk. You could be risking your save game. Just so you know, I have nothing to do with it. If you lose your save game, that's your fault, not mine. I'm just showing you what's in the game. But yeah, unfortunately the Xbox One does freeze after at level 4. If you play the PlayStation version, you can play all 9 levels. So I might put up a video one day of me playing all the endurance levels. I actually haven't gone all the way through it, so I've never done that, because you don't unlock anything. It's just something that they took out of the game, but they left it in there, which is cool. They left a way for you to get to it, to see it. Now, one thing that's weird about survival mode too is that the levels all look funny, and I don't know if that's because the game wasn't finished or if they were supposed to look funny like that. Or the first level looks fine. It's like the second level and third level, it's like all these black squares, and I don't know if they were still working on it or if they wanted it to look sort of like glitchy, you know, like, I don't know, it's sort of weird. But yeah, it's just a really, really cool secret. I just love the amount of secrets the Shaolin monks had, so check it out.
Level 1. Level 3.
Alright, one other thing I wanted to talk about is the weird game over messages that this game throws at you. So like, you die in the game and it would say, use Sonya Slide, or then it would say, who is Shra Lurimp, or something. It would say all these weird things. There were so many of these game over messages, you know, and just going back to the fact that the game was pretty much not entirely finished. I'm sure all these things were going to unlock characters in the end, but unfortunately they didn't. One other thing I should talk about probably is the characters of the game. You had Liu Kang, you had your Kung Lao, they were your mains. Both, I'm not really talking about the moves or anything, but just the looks were perfect and everything. Liu Kang looked badass like MK2 sort of Liu Kang, and Kung Lao looked like MK2 Kung Lao. You could unlock Scorpion and Sub-Zero. They both were very cool. Sub-Zero was the coolest though, if you know what I mean. Scorpion was the hottest. Yeah, so yeah, you could find them by unlocking them, and yeah, they had their own moves and fatalities and everything. And in the co-op, you could unlock Johnny Cage and I think Kano, Katana. You could unlock a whole lot of characters, Reptile. Yeah, and so the game was diverse with characters. Goro, Shao Kahn was in it, Shang Tsung, Kintaro, Katana Molina Jade, I said Kano, Cabal was in it, not a playable character, you talk to him. Yeah, so the game had great characters, and that's what made it a lot of fun also. So yeah, that's it for the mega secrets of Shaolin Monks. Now I'm going to start winding up this review. We're going to talk a bit about the replay value of Shaolin Monks. The fact that there were so many of these secrets hidden in it and things that you would never find the first time, and the fact that you could unlock characters, play it 2-player, gave the replayability of this game, made it extremely high. So this is a game you could definitely replay, and just, you know, capturing all this footage for this review is just, it's been so fun going back. I'm like, fuck, I remember playing this and it was so, how come I haven't played it for so long? I love this game, you know, like, I love it. You know, and it was definitely a game that had high replayability. One thing that's very sad about Shaolin Monks is the fact that it's on PS2 and Xbox. Xbox had a thing, when the Xbox 360 came along, if you wanted to play an Xbox game, they had to release a backwards compatibility patch. Now, unfortunately, they did not do this for Shaolin Monks. The fans kept requesting it from Microsoft, but they never gave in. they never gave us that patch. So no one could play the Shaolin Monks on 360, which was really fucking annoying. You know, I'm a retro game console collector, so I keep all my consoles. It was fine for me, I just plug in the Xbox. But a lot of people sell their Xbox and get the 360, and then they might keep the games they liked on Xbox and just play them on 360. But this wasn't the case with Shaolin Monks. You couldn't play Shaolin Monks on 360 because they didn't give out a patch, and that is fucking bullshit. PlayStation suffered the same fate. Being PlayStation 2 games, if you got the original model PS3, you could play backwards compatibility games, which I've done, which is very cool. But after that, they got rid of it. They scrapped it. And all the new consoles, same deal. They don't play the old games. They don't, you know. Xbox One doesn't play 360. You know, PS4 doesn't play PS3. It's just bullshit. You know, and unfortunately, it's something we have to deal with games. But yeah, it's a real pain in the ass. I mean, I can even show you. I've got my Mega Drive right there, my Sega Mega Drive, and you know what? I'm going to show you. Look at this. Sega Mega Drive, right? Before this, there was the Sega Master System. Now, let's say I got my Sega Master System to get the Mega Drive. I wanted the 16-bit graphics. But, hey, I still want to play Alex Kidd and Shinobi World or you know, Sonic on Master System for whatever reason. Basically, the way it was in the old school days, you buy an adapter. This is called a power base. You know, you put that on top. There we go. I can play all my Master System games. See that? Look, it's even got the card slot for the really old Master System games. And there's this cartridge slot, the Master System cartridge slot. You know, they don't do that stuff anymore. I'd be happy to pay for an add-on for Xbox One, PS4, or PS3 or 360 that would let me play the older games. I'd be happy to pay money for it. And that's what they did in the old days. They sold that power base converter. You know? Unfortunately, that's nothing to do with the Shaolin Monks game. It's just Shaolin Monks was affected by the policy of Microsoft and Sony. The other thing I want to say is there were outtakes from Shaolin Monks. Now, I stumbled upon these. I probably shouldn't have found them. What had happened was I was at E3 and I was speaking to Dan Forden, the legend himself. And I was telling him how much I loved all the music from the games. And I wish I'd interviewed him on camera, but back then I was shy. This was my first, meeting these guys. And I thought I had to book an interview, and I could have just probably turned the camera on and said, hey, can I take a few words or something. I sort of know you can be brute force like that now. But back then I thought you had to arrange an interview and everything. So we were just talking casually. I got a photo with him and that. But we're talking about Shaolin Monks, and he's saying there was some hilarious outtakes in Shaolin Monks that had Ed saying, get the fuck over here, and get over here, bitch, and all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, wow. I'm like, was that in the game? And he goes, I think they took it out of the game. And this is what I was told. And then I'm like, when I had that Total Mortal Kombat 20,000 members thing, that's when I try and put up a whole lot of cool things that people mightn't have seen, new content and things like that. I emailed my media contact, and he said that they couldn't give me those files because it could make Ed look bad. Like if someone got upset at hearing Ed say get the fuck over here or something, that they couldn't give me those files for that reason. They're sort of protecting his image sort of thing, which is not uncommon in this sort of industry. And I'm like, and I was really bummed about it, because I'm like, fuck, everyone would love to hear get the fuck over here, get over here, bitch. It's fucking cool to say stuff like that. We never heard anything like that, and I was really bummed about it. And I thought, I had software already that could scan games for sounds. So, thought, fuck it, I'm going to scan Shaolin Monks anyway. I'm just going to see if it's... Because sometimes they put things in games and they take them out of the game, but the asset still sits there. For example, that sound could still be in the game, but when you play the game, you don't hear it, but it could still be in the software. So I did this scan. I scanned the whole Shaolin Monks disc for all these sounds, and I fucking found them. I couldn't believe it. I found get over here, bitch, and get the fuck over here. And, I was naughty. I put them on my website. I thought, fuck it, how could I not put these up? These like are so awesome, you know. And I'm glad I did that because no one else had done it. And since then, I've heard Dashi use them in his videos. Dashi XP, he's used the get the fuck over here. And you know, honestly, I take a bit of that credit because I was the guy that put those sounds up and no one else knew about them. And you're talking about, when I'm saying scanning a game disc, you're talking about 5,000 sounds that I had to play. And I'm listening to, I'm just lying there on my bed and listening to all these sounds. Scorpion, okay. And then finally here, get the fuck over here. And I'm like, whoa, I jump out of bed, I hit stop. And then I see sound number, you know, 3,232 or something. So, yeah, so I'm glad I put them up. You know, a lot of people use them in their videos in pop culture and that, and it didn't hurt Ed at all. He's just fine. Everyone loves those sounds, you know. And hearing Ed do just the normal get over here at Comic Con was like fucking amazing, you know. But like it sounded just like fucking perfect. Yeah. Just the acoustic level, even in a big room at Comic Con, it was the sound. It was very cool. But yeah, I was really, I'm glad I was able to get those out there for everyone because those are fucking cool.
Get the fuck over here! Get over here, bitch!
Lastly, just wrapping up this interview, there was going to be a Shaolin Monks 2. No joke. There was 3 pieces of concept art out. One was, or 2 of them were arena concept art, or for an environment, and one was a puzzle concept. And they're actually working on the game when Midway went belly up, unfortunately. I'm really sort of annoyed that they never picked it up, and we never got Shaolin Monks 2. And you know what? I'm going to say it. I still think we could have a Shaolin Monks 2, even now. You know, Shaolin Monks 1 came out 2005. It's now 2014. Next year it'd be 2015. Even 10 years later, we could have a Shaolin Monks 2 and everyone would play it. In HD, beautiful presentation, maybe even 4K. It would look awesome. I would fucking play the shit out of that game. As long as it was exactly the same as like the first one. I had the same, you know, the same combos and the same, you know, just new areas, new arenas, new enemies. You know, but the same combo system, the same fluidity, the same connectability on everything, and just the same awesomeness. You know, they've got a hit title there, just sitting, just that hit title idea sitting there, and they're not doing anything about it. They should be Shaolin Monks too. Alrighty, time to wrap up this ginormous review up. One thing that's disappointing about Shaolin Monks is that there was no GameCube version. I don't know why. I don't know if this was a choice by Midway. I'm guessing it was, to do no GameCube version. But I was a big GameCube GameCube fan at the time. So if there was a GameCube version, I would have got it on GameCube. But I ended up getting up on Xbox primarily. The team that worked on this game, and again, it was the MK team working with a new studio, I believe, that they'd acquired from San Diego, I think it was. They'd acquired this studio, which did a lot of the work on the game, but they consulted with the main MK team. And I think it worked really well. Sean Hemerick was doing most of the promotions. He was the producer on the game. He was doing a lot of the PR and a lot of the... he was a lot of the driving force behind the game. I saw some really good stuff come out from Sean on the game, and you know, just in general, like talking about the game and where the direction he was going, and again, you know, you had Ed chiming in as creative, you know, as MK God. You had John Vogel, you know, talking about graphics and story. Tony Goski, Steve Baran, all those guys were all involved. Pav Kovacic, of course, doing those beautiful renders. It was a great production, and it was a great team that worked on it. And that's what I love about the MK team, is there's so much fucking talent in the MK team, you know. And some, you know, everyone knows Ed Boon's the head of the snake, but the rest of the body of the snake, you know, made up of so many talented people, like people like Sean Hemerick and Steve Baran and John Vogel, and all those people together make this killer snake, you know, and that's what's so killer about Mortal Kombat, is that's what's so awesome about it, is that those guys are wicked. And I've spoken to them. I've spoken to Tony Goski. I've spoken to Tony Goski about the Living Forest, man. You know, and that was cool. I was loving hearing the stuff about that. You know, he told me stuff that, you know, for you movie lovers out there, that the Living Forest is based on Evil Dead, loosely. That the faces in the Living Forest in MK2 are sort of molded off Ed's face, and all sorts of things. And he was just telling me all this stuff and about the backgrounds and where he gets inspiration from. And yeah, that art he's done is just amazing, awesome, you know. And the stories that John Vogel comes up with are perfect. The tie-ins and just the mythology, and he's always been on track. And I'm so glad that John Vogel has been there from the start, and they haven't gone, let's get a new guy on the story, you know. Like, he's been there the whole time. He knows everything. Mortal Kombat, you know, he knows that stuff so well, you know, and that's cool. They haven't messed with why mess with greatness? I've heard that as a saying before. So yeah, the reason that Shaolin Monks was awesome, just to go over this one more time, was totally immersive environment, addicting combo system, totally easy to play, 2-player option, amazing music, and beautiful graphics, and replayability through the roof. So many secrets. That's what made Shaolin Monks such a great game. Not only that, I believe the game was a bit cheaper than other games at the time, so it was actually a bit more, you actually saved a bit of money on it, but you got more out of it, and you could unlock MK2 in it, the original MK2 as well. So it was a very good value game as well. It wasn't just a good game as in it was good, it was worth my $100 or whatever. It was good as in it was good value too. So yeah, wrapping it up, I gotta say, if I had a bit more time on Shaolin Monks to, you know, fix up those cutscenes that didn't match the character models and things like that, and to fix up survival mode so it worked, if they had that time to get all that stuff like perfect and fully polished, I would have given this game a 10 out of 10. I would have given it a flawless victory rating. But I'm very appreciative that they left that stuff in, but I have to give it a 9 out of 10. Just because when I'm playing a Scorpion, I don't like to be called Liu Kang. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that's my rating for Shaolin Monks. I hope you enjoyed this extensive review of the Xbox version. I wanted to give it more love because I do feel I neglected the PS2 review of Shaolin Monks a long time ago. So I wanted to make this one good. I spent a lot of time capturing footage, and I spent a bit more time sort of thinking about all the parts of the game I wanted to talk about. And I believe I've done that. Yeah. I think I did forget to mention the Wuxi Academy before when I was talking about the levels. Sorry. Liu Kang's Temple. How could I forget that level? But yeah, that was a lot of fun. But yeah, this has just been a lot of fun doing this review. And thanks again for watching. If you watch the whole thing, I really do appreciate it. I know I do go on and on and on. And I guess it's just because I don't know how to edit tightly yet, but one day I'll get there, you know. Give me a chance. But I believe that I've provided you with very high quality media with this too. I've done a lot of captures, like I said, and everything in high quality, and all the videos I've put in here are the highest quality I could find, and the renders and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys for the next TMK video. Peace out. Check out this concept art.